Right, welcome team. Hope everybody is well. It's Friday the 10th of July, 8:03. So we're going to trial something new today. We're going to break down the trades properly rather than obviously me analyzing from the beginning. I'm going to go over gold a bit, but I'm probably going to leave gold to the lower time frame from today. I don't think we're going to get any huge moves like we have done. So I'm going to leave that to the lower time frames, and then obviously we will we'll focus on our currencies. All right, so first things first, what everyone should do every single morning, have a look to see what's happening here. And remember, at the moment we've got the geopolitical worry, which is going to outdo any kind of fundamentals. What is happening? So we've got to be really, really kind of focused on it and make sure that we obviously understand that fundamentally it doesn't matter, but obviously these kind of headlines, media are going to be influencing things more than anything can. Not that we do have a lot coming out. We've got a IEA monthly report for the US dollar, not going to impact. Most reports don't impact because everyone knows that they're a report of something that's happened, and obviously you already know what's happened. Um, that's why things like FOMC, meeting minutes don't impact the markets because everyone knows what's going to be written in them. I think the interesting one. I don't trade CAD, but I'm going to put a bit of a shout out there. I think this is going to tick down to 6.5%. Just because, you've got to think about everything that's, happening. The World Cup, although I haven't really watched a lot of it. Um, it obviously creates a lot of jobs and, so I am, and Canada, for those who don't know, tend to kind of lead the way into recovering the quickest. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. I do think potentially that CAD could tick a bit lower. That obviously, with oil. Um, being obviously slightly higher. I wouldn't be pricing CAD against the dollar. I'd be doing it against, do you know what? Let's go through it today. And because these are all things that you can use tonight, all right? So one thing that's very, very oversold at the moment is yen, all right? No, not so much CAD, but USD JPY, massive look. Let's go on CAD. Yeah, there we go. So with obviously oil, holding up, all right. Canada has one of the largest storage supplies of oil. So obviously as a currency, it's linked quite heavily with oil. So if obviously employment rate was to come down, I'd be hand picking something like CAD JPY to obviously pump as long as yen starts to weaken a bit. I think it's very, very over sold. In regards to, I don't think it's quite ready yet. Like I'd said, intervention that doesn't it almost happens in threes, so it'll be something like this. That's obviously how a yen intervention works. It'll be small drives and then one big drive. The biggest telltale sign is when it happens during Asia. So I would be pairing up CAD with something like yen. We are in a nice uptrend here. We could have a correction if we have a look at the RSI, and then we have a look at it on a say a 4 hour, say 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute. It's very, very oversold. And obviously, we're going to go through USD JPY in a minute. But yeah, that potentially, if if yen holds, could be one that could be quite a big mover. And obviously, that's how you can use macros in regards to um, you know pairing up with someone a little bit weaker. So right, let's have a look at what is happening here. So. Dollar had a bit of a sell-off during Asia, recovered slightly. So we'll wait and see. I don't think that it should be trading, in that particular direction. If I'm honest, like I said, we're holding everything really, really well. I do see it kind of finishing the day in this area here, but I might be wrong. So let's rewind slightly. For those who don't have access to this, drop the team message, and obviously they'll give you their your logins. Everyone's obviously got individual ones. So yeah, and also if you had the generic one, we're going to get rid of that this weekend. So make sure obviously you message the team, and obviously they'll create you new logins. So one of the things when you generate your macro report, well, one of the things here, USD JPY is oversold and primed for a bounce. Gold is defending support near 4 110. Both offer defined risk setups for patient traders. And then obviously this is the breakdown here. I'm going to do a bit more work on this weekend. London open on a Friday with no major economic calendar events scheduled, which means price action will be driven by profit taking, weekend and positioning. Now, I think gold might have a bit of a profit taking day. Everyone's made quite a bit this week on gold, so we might see gold start to tail off, slightly. All in all, you know, we've we've got you know dollar is the strongest, I guess, out of every banking kind of system. They're being very, very aggressive, and that they're not giving anything away. But the interesting thing is things like euro, right? Euro should be plummeting. All right, euro USD should be dropping off the chart, but there's because of obviously what's been read out in all the meetings, what's been read out in speeches. They're very super dovish, which obviously means they're a bit pessimistic, a bit negative. But obviously, markets aren't pricing that in, which is interesting. So, whether there's something on the horizon, whether there's some good data to come out, we've got to obviously have a think about it here. What you can do as well, I'm gonna like I'd say, because I understand this bit here is pretty similar to this bit here. So I'm gonna edit it around slightly. But obviously you could read these trade cards. They're gonna give you prices which are obviously gonna help you, and also they're gonna go through everything as to why what's happening with that particular currency in a nice a short statement. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens. But I'm gonna go with being bullish on the dollar today. I don't think that there's enough to drift it back down, and I think this 101 is going to act a bit like a magnet. We've also got stocks down to break even. And then we've got oil starting to rise slightly, and still in that bit of a sticky area. We obviously pumped up and obviously hit that 76. We actually had this pre-highlighted, so some people would say we kind of know what we're speaking about because it's reacted absolutely perfectly. So Aussie here. I'm gonna stay away again. Aussie, we've obviously peaked here at this Asian high. All right. But I still, I just I don't like how much support there is here. All right. And if we go to sell it, well, we're, slamming straight into this like area of, support here. So I'll be a lot more confident if this broke through. And then obviously we could tail off down to this side, but we're gonna need gold to get hurt, for obviously that to happen. Australia, it's obviously one of its heavy its heaviest trade partner is China. You know, data's been coming out strong from China, coupled with, gold. It's what they call a commodity-based currency, because obviously it's one of the biggest exporters of gold, and so it pegs obviously kind of to the gold price. So that's why I'm not too keen on it. It's not particularly strong as a currency, but it's everything else round it. That is obviously highlighting continual growth. Pound, I'm going to be looking to short this. So let's mark out where we're going to look on the pound, right? And obviously what potentially we could be looking into. All right. So let's have a look at this on a 15-minute time frame here. And I want to be realistic too. All right. So I want to be realistic too. So I'm going to go for this area here. Let's just have a little look on this, what we're doing here. So 300, and let's go to 400 here. So that should be, how many pips is that? My brain's not working very well this morning. Okay, let's take it up to 20. There we go. So we're going to go up to 20 pips, 500. There we go. That is my area. I'm pretty happy with that. There we go. So that's obviously our area of interest here. You can see here, all right, we've rejected it on a 15-minute time frame here, rejected and broke through here. Yeah. And similar thing here, rejected and broke through here. Yeah. And obviously I like the fact that obviously this has happened here. I am gonna get the daily ranges for everyone, but if you look at how much price moved yesterday, all right, so price moved 50 pips yesterday from top to bottom. We've already surpass that. All right, so that would tell me with nothing else coming out, I'd be pretty comfortable, taking this trade here. Let me just put this there. There we go. So I'm gonna mark up my sell here. Stops don't need to be crazy. Let's go for 20 pips. So let's go for a 20 pip stop from the middle. Here we go. And then let's go for a 1 to 2. So 40 pips would be fine here. I'm pretty happy with that. Then we're targeting these areas here. Yeah. All right. And so obviously marking everything up, stop loss. I'm going to put that here. And then we're going to have entry number 3. So trigger 3. I'm going to put these in yellow just so that everybody understands. Trigger 3. Trigger 3, trigger 2, and then trigger 1. Right? Those are our 3 triggers. And then we're going to have TP, overall TP. Not obviously blowing it out the park here, but that's our overall TP. And then we're going to have we'll put one on highlighting this area here. So we'll put one here, something like this. I might raise it up ever so slightly. Let's go for somewhere like this. There we go. All right. So something like this, and obviously I'm gonna make this a lot clearer for everyone. So let's put this as trigger 3. There we go. Trigger 2 and trigger 1. There we go. I'm pretty happy here. Trigger 1. There we go. All right. That's obviously what we are looking at here. So let me screenshot this. and I'll put it in the group now. So GBP USD so opportunity. There we go. Right. Cool. So that is that one there. Does everyone understand? And is it helping? So just want to make sure it's helping and you guys are obviously understanding. Right, Euro USD here. Right. Someone's put in here, Alex, is this GBP zone against trend? Would you classify GBP in an uptrend? No, because, if you look at it on a daily, and this is where trends are subjective, clear. And look at all this support, and sorry, GBP here. All right, clear. We've made this low. We're currently targeting equal highs here. Yeah, equal highs, and we're trading the dollar. All right, more than we're trading pound. All right, and so that is GBP USD. We're going to do euro, and let's do this as well. So we want to target our Asian high is quite high here. Look how much that's dived off. All right, so that is our Asian high. Let's just obviously have a little look realistically of the movement compared to yesterday. I mean, I'd say yeah, yes, yesterday is pretty much average, right? Look at that, So as long as we're close to here, we're not going to be too far away. So is it going to pump up too much? I like the idea of being a little bit more aggressive today because we've been you know, pretty kind of safe this week. Let me just roughly mark this up so I know what I'm doing here. So let's go for another 20 pips and we'll go for 40 pips here as well. So 40 pips from here. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Right. Cool. So let's just have a look at this. So let's round that up to 7.5. Let's do 5.75. What does that look like? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Something like this. All right. Coolio. Can be our NTP because it's already green. We're going to give TP2. We're going to target these wicks here. Or TP1, sorry. I'm pretty happy with that. There's a lot of wick action there. And then remember, this is our trigger one. Change it to yellow. And this is, you guys can kind of, see here how long it takes me to mark everything out. And then normally I'll be writing all of this out too. So it takes me a bit of time. And then we got our stop here. That's what I'm looking at here. All right. There we go. So something like this is what I'm looking at. Let's just mark these out as well so everybody understands. Trigger three, trigger two, and then last but not least, trigger one. All right. So, what we're trying to do here is always err on the, side of caution. Yeah. Because we always want to make sure that we're covered. There's been some big moves in Asia, but I would like to see this pop up, slightly. Um, so I'm going to leave this on the 2 hour. So that's what I'd like to see. So let me now mark this one up, and I'll send this one in. Right, this next one, Euro USD opportunity. Perfect. Right, that's that one there. So right, the last but not least is probably my favorite. Gold, I'm pretty happy with. We're going to be trading this on the lower time frame here. So I'm probably going to continue because I can see trading being a bit tight with gold today. Even yesterday, look, like we did really well. Yesterday, but it was hard. If you were trying to short this a bit like we did in the morning, we obviously managed to get out, but obviously gold is only going one direction. So I can't quite. I think it's a lot safer at the moment, especially with potential sell-offs coming that we kind of leave gold to the lower time frames. Now, one thing that I really like, is USD JPY, right? If we look at this on a RSI, any kind of lower time frame from 30 minutes, massively, sold off here. All right. So what I'm going to do is be slightly more aggressive. Um, and I'm going to probably target something like this. That's our Asian, low here. Look how much USD JPY moved yesterday, and look how much it's already moved. So you've got to be realistic here. That is probably an average day. All right, bit like this one here, and we've already moved past that. All right, so we've got to be a little bit more aggressive here. So I'm just gonna have a just gonna roughly mark up this, and then we'll see six. Let's do 6:30, and let's do 3:30. Something like this. I like that. So let's do this. Gonna have to do a slightly bigger stop here. There we go. Something like that. Not obviously pushing it too heavy, but I like that idea of this, being. I wonder if we can actually go a bit more, you know. I wonder if we can do a 1 to 3 on this. I think we can comfortably. So that is what I'm looking for here. So let me mark this one out as well, and then we're good to go. Next one. Just spread these out a little bit. There we go. Let's get rid of this. That's better. Right, this one here. Get your questions ready once I've drafted this one up, and then that'll be good then. Next one here, and then that one there. I'm just worried it's gonna go, but I'm pretty happy with this. Right, we'll do the top one first, then I'll have a little look at it. So let's just do this green. Green is good. Right, where are we going to look for targeting wise? I actually like it on that wick here. If we were to go here, I quite like that. Something like that. There we go. Right, now we'll mark these ones out. So trigger one. I'm getting quicker at this, guys. Trigger two. And last but not least, there we go. Trigger three. Right, I'm pretty happy with all of these. All right. So I'm pretty happy. Let me put this one in, and then I'll happy to answer any questions. So perfect. Right. Let's now have a look at some of the questions. VP, could you post these on the channel like you normally do at 6:30? Can I? There is 27 people, including me. If you want me to carry on doing it like this, put yes. If you want me to do it like I was, put no. All right, if everyone could put that in, because then it's going to give me an overview. Okay. No, no, no. Yes, both. Yes. All right, cool. So it's um it's really mixed actually. So yeah, yeah. All right, cool. So what we will do is we'll mix it up. All right. Someone's put here, please, Dan, how do you know the exact entry with you just using the square box? Look, I'll be realistic that there is no exact entries in trading, and obviously that's why we use an area. Yeah. All right, because we are hoping that this trade comes into this area and then triggers. I would much rather, and I think you've got a higher probability, right? If I draw this out, all right? So imagine you've got an area here, right? Or you've got a line, yeah? Right? There is more chance because of what this covers here of price hitting this, yeah? Every single time there's more chance because it's a bigger area. All right. Whereas this, you might come here and then go. You might come here and go. That you're asking for a pinpoint entry. No one has a pinpoint entry. All right. I know that in trading, you'll obviously have some traders who will be like, no, price is coming down here because of displacement or because of this or because of a fair value gap, because of this, because of that. No, the truth is, area is all you're going to be a lot more reliable on this area. Plus, we already have identified how much it moves. And obviously, trading is all about probabilities. All right. Is it a higher probability that USD JPY is going to continue, and make an even bigger, daily range, or is it a higher probability that it's going to trade within its range? All right, so it's always going to be if on average, your USD JPY moves. I'd say worst case, this is about an average candle here. All right, if it moves 85 pips on average, all right, and today it's already moved over 100. Right, what's the probability? Count them. How many of these candles here have moved over 100 pips? None of them. Yeah, probably just this one here. Yeah. All right. And so the probability is greater that it's going to trade within its daily range. Now, I'm not saying that is going to be 100% right, but and then all we're doing with our area is identifying how aggressive that we want to be. All right, we could have entered straight away. All right, this box could have been here. All right, but I do like to allow for a little bit. I've done my years of being aggressive, and I don't want to I don't want to do it anymore. Do you think we miss out on potential trades by doing this at 8? I think we had a good number of traders active before 7. Yeah, yeah, potentially, but obviously, you know what? We'll mix it all up, so I'm happy to. What I can do is I can record me doing my breakdowns at 6:30 in the morning. The only, I guess, the only benefit of doing it at 8, if I was to obviously highlight some pros and some cons, the only benefit is you're not going to get that move, that fake out move. But then obviously the cons are we're obviously not going to capitalize much because I was looking to buy USD JPY this morning. So yeah, it's but obviously hopefully you're enjoying it and yeah, that's the goal. But no, I hope everyone has a great day. Let's just have a quick pan out at what GBP USD is doing and euro. So we obviously just want this to pop up. Everything's quite tight, so yeah, let's wait and see what happens here. But yeah, and then obviously we'll turn our aggression up a bit later on. So yeah, but right, I'm going to hold this off here. I hope everyone has a great day, and yeah, let's smash it. Let's absolutely smash it. Have a good one, team. Have a good one.